Right guys, here for another shorter video, just me talking, hope you don't mind. So I'm not going to do so much of an update as I have in previous videos because the way me and Sam's schedule has fallen this month, we're filming these quite close together. So as the brief update, exactly the same as the last video. Body weight hovering around the mid 330s, I was 334.5 this morning. No changes to food, training 4 times a week. The video after this goes out, the next one will be going through how I'm managing my shoulder injury, so I won't go on about that anymore. Cardio still 20 minutes 6 times a week. Food is around 5,500 calories on training days, about 4.5 on non. So that's all you need to know from me. You get plenty of updates from me, so I'm not going to bore you guys any more than needed. So I'm going to use this video as an opportunity to go through some questions from my Instagram. Yeah, just answer those. So the first one I have is, how are you coping mentally with your rotator cuff? Now, this will be covered in the next video, but in short, I am coping absolutely fine because I've rearranged my training. So I am, instead of doing 2 push sessions, which from an intensity point of view, I wouldn't be able to maximize, I'm doing 1 push session, 2 pull sessions, and a leg session. So 3 of my 4 sessions, I'm training very, very hard because I have no issues in my shoulder there. On the push session, I am coping mentally well because I can do something. As long as I can do something, I am good. And 99% of the time, you'll be able to do something. So you'll see in the video coming, high volume, really, really a lot of reps, a lot of blood flow, and just being mindful that I can't load it. So for me, from a mental aspect, throughout any injury, it's not looking at what you can't do, it's looking at what you can do. So that is a good start to those questions. Next up, couple of food questions from one of my clients, Brad, who definitely loves his food. So what's your go-to off-plan meal? Is it structured, or whatever the day may entail? So off season, I eat that much that I don't really crave any food. And as it stands at the minute, I am pretty consistent. Me and my partner will sit down on a Saturday night and we will have a Nando's. I know what you're thinking, what a bloody boring bodybuilder bastard, but there you go. You know, I have my Nando's order, 2 chicken wraps, 2 chips, and then we normally get some cookies and ice cream. That for me, absolutely lovely, sits brilliantly, doesn't ruin the rest of my doesn't ruin my digestion for following kind of meals or the following days, and just allows me not to prepare a meal and allows me to enjoy some slightly different flavors. Alternatively, if there's an event or something like that, me and my partner might go out for food. We do like to go out, but at the minute we've been a bit lazy and we've just been chilling in with the Nando's. Next question, also from Brad. Would it be beneficial to have your off-plan meal on leg day or a lagging body part day? Now, people will come up with different answers for this. Personally, I don't like having an off-plan meal on a training day because training days for me, I think, are massively important to get that quality of nutrition in and timing. And I think off-plan meals can sometimes disrupt digestion. So I would rather have that on a non-training day. And for me personally, I would rather that be the last meal of a non-training day. So I've got all my food in and there's not going to be any issues with me missing meals. Because at the end of the day, an off-plan meal, in an off-season particularly, is an opportunity to get a few extra calories in. But if you then find yourself eating that much that you're then end up missing a meal, it's quite counterproductive. So I personally don't think there's any merit to that. I'm sure others will argue and disagree. The next question is, when you visualize the next 3 years, where do you see yourself? Is there an ultimate end goal? Which is a fantastic question, and I suppose takes a little bit of thought. But the long and the short, obviously there's different goals. There's, you know, bodybuilding, there's life, etc. There's business. Bodybuilding, as the whole point of this kind of series is, this final chapter series, bodybuilding competitively will be done by this time next year for me. And that, for me, the end goal within bodybuilding is to stand on stage as a pro, enjoy it, and put the best physique I can up there, and then step back with good health, and still loving the sport as I do. I'm realistic in bodybuilding. getting a pro card was a massive, achievement. Something I didn't really think for until it really happened that I would manage to achieve. So, that was almost the end goal, but it would be a shame not to use that pro card and just see how I fare. But as I said at the very first video I made, I don't want to take the piss with my health, and I want to step back on my terms from this sport that I love. I don't want it to ruin me. In terms of business, in terms of life, obviously my Team Viking coaching is going from strength to strength. Again, part of the reason of stopping my own bodybuilding next year is to focus even more on that. 3 years from now, I would like to think I would be seen as one of the kind of go-to coaches in the UK, and have, a great roster of incredible athletes under me. I already have some fantastic athletes, and I only want to build on that. Then, from a life point of view, exciting, but I'm going to keep it again on the down low for now. But probably a video in the next month or so, you will see a massive life change from me, and I'm very excited to share that, but I'm not going to say any more there. Then we have, from my client Big Ron, what's the biggest lesson, skill that you've learnt through bodybuilding? So what's the biggest lesson or skill that you've learnt through bodybuilding? Delayed gratification. Bodybuilding is a marathon. So the lessons and the kind of the foundation of bodybuilding as I see it, you commit to a process and you put the work in, day out for years and years and years. And through that process, you will get bigger, you will get better, and you will succeed in some manner. Now, everyone is going to have different versions and different levels of success, but that delayed gratification has allowed me many things. It's allowed me to build my business in a sustainable and professional manner, instead of just kind of trying to take on as many clients and letting my service suffer. It's allowed me to appreciate, that I need to establish every single client as an important member of the team and build from there. In terms of a major life goal that I just mentioned, that you'll see again soon, that will be a massive, that'll be a huge amount of evidence about delayed gratification, and I will definitely talk more about that when the time is right. So yeah, just that ability to have that long-term vision, not get caught up on the here and now, not rush things, and allow yourself, what is it, the kind of the expression that discipline is the greatest form of self-love. And I honestly believe that, because if you are disciplined, it shows that you put things that are important to you ahead of that, short-term distraction, short-term whatever it may be. And by doing that, you become a better and a stronger human. I believe so anyway. Again, my beliefs doesn't have to be taken universally. Couple more questions here. Hope I'm not boring you. What would you say has been the biggest mistake you've made during your bodybuilding career? Now, I am not a believer in mistakes and dwelling on mistakes. I'm sure I've made plenty, but I've also learned from all of them. And I think they have made me the bodybuilder, the person, the coach that I am today. So I don't think, nothing jumps out of me. There is nothing I've done that I think that was either stupid, reckless, or a big mistake. There are things that along the way, knowing what I know now, I could have probably done better. But by doing them the way that I did, I learned about myself. I learned about, why they maybe weren't as good. And I think having that kind of first-hand experience, again, this is why I think as a coach, I'm in a different space to some guys. Like, I've walked the bodybuilding journey for coming up to 12 years, from a skinny starting bodybuilder to an Ifbb pro. And within that journey, I can now relate to whoever I work with, whether they be a pro where I am now, or whether they be a beginner where I have been. So I'm a big believer in life anyway, no regrets. Lessons are always there. We don't really learn too much through success. You learn through failure, you learn through mistakes. So, turn that into a positive and embrace it. And then a question that's just come in, a little bit less deep, but still important. Best rest times in between sets when using a progressive overload training approach. Whatever you need. I'm not someone who believes in timing rest times, and I often get this question from clients when I set them up. How long should I rest? 30 seconds, 60 seconds, 90 seconds. Now, if you're following a progressive overload approach, and for example, if you have a top set and a back off set, between your final lead-in set and that top set, I would take however long it takes you mentally and physically to feel ready to attack that set. You know, whether that be 2, 3, 4 minutes, only you can say. And then between that top set and that back off set, there needs to be an element of recovery. There needs to be an element of regrouping mentally and then going into that. So again, that could be 2, 3, 4 minutes. Between isolation movements, if you're doing slightly higher volume stuff, I would say try and be more mindful of your rest time and maybe keep that to around 60 seconds. So yeah, they're the questions that I had. Very, very good ones there. Hopefully you guys can pick up a few bits of knowledge from that. And if you have any questions at all, then pop them below or keep an eye on my Instagram and I will do a Q&A, again, moving through these shorter videos, especially when I have less to talk about myself, because I'm not that egotistical and I'm not going to bore you or waffle on unless I have something kind of useful to tell you. So once again, hugely, hugely appreciate the support of the channel so far. It's only growing one way, and yeah, on we go, onwards and upwards. Like, comment, subscribe. Speak to you soon.